One night, 13,000 years ago, beside a campfire, an ancient human picked up a bowl of cloudy, sour grain drink. At first, he only wanted to take part in a ritual, but after drinking half a bowl, he began beating his chest and announcing, "Tomorrow, I will fight a wild bull alone." A little later, he might have jumped into the crowd and started dancing wildly. He might have pointed at the tribe leader and talked nonsense. And in the end, he probably fell asleep at the cave entrance while hugging a pottery jar. The next morning, he woke up and found the whole tribe staring at him. He had no memory of what dumb things he had done the night before. But judging from everyone's strange expressions, he only hoped that future archaeologists would never dig him up. So, after getting drunk, did ancient humans also do the kind of stupid things that modern people refuse to admit the next day? Most likely, yes. And humans may have come into contact with alcohol very early. Nature can make alcohol on its own. Overripe fruit, honey, and grain can all ferment under the action of microorganisms. So today, let's rank the dumb things ancient humans might have done when drunk. Number 7. Dancing wildly and turning a ritual into public embarrassment. Many early drinking scenes probably did not involve one lonely person hiding in a corner and drinking alone. They were more likely to happen during rituals, feasts, funerals, or group gatherings. Firelight, drums, crowds, singing, and a little alcohol could easily push people into an excited state. At first, everyone might have been performing a serious ritual for the ancestors. The movements were neat, and the atmosphere was solemn. But once someone got drunk, things could slowly go out of control. One person made the wrong move. Another person followed the wrong move. And finally, a serious ritual turned into prehistoric disco. This kind of dumb behavior was probably not the most dangerous, but the level of embarrassment was very stable. Ancient people did not have short video platforms, so they could not upload your dance moves to the internet. But they had something even scarier, the memory of the entire tribe. When modern people dance after drinking too much, they can say the next day, "I was just making the atmosphere more lively." But if an ancient human ruined a ritual dance, an elder might stare at him the next morning and ask, "Last night, were you summoning the ancestors or driving them away?" Number 6. Bragging wildly and turning himself into a tribal war god. Alcohol weakens judgment. It also makes people more likely to overestimate themselves. Modern people who drink too much might say, "Tomorrow, I'm quitting my job and starting a company." A drunk ancient human might point at an animal drawing on the cave wall and say, "That one? I beat it." Another person might disagree and say, "When I was young, I could run faster than a deer." A third person might go even further. "The ancestors came to me in a dream last night. They said I should be the leader." From a scientific point of view, alcohol does not really improve ability. It lowers a person's evaluation of risk and consequences. The voice in the brain that says, "Don't embarrass yourself, don't get yourself killed, don't make such a big claim," becomes quieter. At the same time, emotion and confidence become louder. So a person who normally only dared to carry firewood might suddenly announce, after drinking, that he would lead the hunt tomorrow. The problem is, bragging beside a campfire can sound very impressive. But the next morning, when the whole tribe pushes you to the front of the hunting team, it becomes a very poor strategic decision. Number 5. Making random promises and selling out tomorrow's self. The most troublesome part of getting drunk is not just that people talk nonsense, it is that they often talk nonsense with great sincerity. A modern person might promise a friend after drinking, "Next time, dinner is on me." The ancient version might be, "Tomorrow, I'll give you 10 animal hides." Then he wakes up the next morning and realizes that all he owns is half a torn hide, and even that was borrowed. Alcohol amplifies the emotions of the moment. It makes people more likely to make immediate promises without thinking about the cost of keeping them. In an ancient society with limited resources, a promise was not just a joke. If you promised to give someone meat, animal hides, help with hunting, or support in a conflict, the other person might really come looking for you the next day. And the most awkward part is this: ancient people had no chat history to delete, but they had witnesses. The words you said beside the fire last night may have already been remembered clearly by 3 elders, 5 children, and half the tribe. When modern people say the wrong thing after drinking, it is embarrassing. When ancient people said the wrong thing after drinking, it could become a debt. Number 4. Confessing love randomly and turning private feelings into a public accident. Alcohol lowers shame. It also weakens self-control. Many things people do not dare to say when sober suddenly feel urgent after drinking. It feels as if you do not say it now, it will be too late. Modern people still have phones as a buffer. At worst, they send a message in the middle of the night and pretend the next day that they never saw it. Ancient humans did not have this technology. They had to complete the embarrassment face to face. Imagine a drunk ancient human standing beside the campfire, saying something extremely sincere, extremely confused, and extremely unsuitable for public release to the person he liked. The problem is, the audience was not just 2 or 3 friends. It might have been the entire group. Even worse, in a small community, relationships were highly connected. Who you liked, who you offended, and who you promised something to could all affect future cooperation, marriage, and status. In other words, a drunken confession in ancient times was not just a romantic problem. It could become a public relations crisis. Modern people who send drunk messages to an ex at least have a delete button. For ancient humans, after confessing in public, the closest thing to undo was probably moving to the cave next door. Number 3. Sleeping in the wrong place and waking up in the wrong part of the map. Alcohol affects balance, direction, and alertness. It also makes people more likely to lose consciousness in the wrong place. Modern people who drink too much might sleep on a sofa, in a hallway, or in the backseat of a taxi. Ancient humans had more primitive options: the cave entrance, beside the fire, next to stored grain, beside animals, near a ritual site, or even in the grass far away from camp. This may sound only embarrassing, but in an ancient environment, sleeping in the wrong place could be truly dangerous. Too close to the fire, and your animal hide clothing might burn. At the cave entrance, it might be too cold, and you could lose body heat during the night. Too far from camp, and you might meet wild animals. Sleeping at a ritual site might be seen as offending the ancestors. Even worse, waking up with a hangover is already painful enough. Your head hurts and your mouth is dry. But if the first thing you see when you open your eyes is the whole tribe standing in a silent circle around you, then the pain is not only physical, it is archaeological-level emotional damage. Number 2. Starting random fights and turning the drinking party into a weapons test. The relationship between alcohol and aggressive behavior is often discussed in modern psychology. Many studies suggest that alcohol can increase the chance of aggressive behavior, especially when there is provocation, conflict, and aggressive cues nearby. The reason is not complicated. Alcohol narrows attention. It makes people focus more on the most stimulating thing in front of them: someone's mockery, a look, an unfair piece of meat, or a small insult. At the same time, it makes people less able to think about long-term consequences. In an ancient society, the trigger for conflict could be very simple. Who took an extra piece of roasted meat? Who got the best seat near the fire? Who laughed at the wrong person during a ritual? Who said the wrong thing to a relative of the leader? When modern people fight after drinking, someone nearby might call the police. When ancient humans fought after drinking, there might only be wooden sticks, stone axes, and a group of people watching. Even more dangerous, ancient tools were already aggressive by nature. Spears, axes, and stone knives were not just props. A sober person knew they were weapons. A drunk person might think they were emotional support tools. So one of the most important safety warnings in prehistoric society may not have been "do not drink and drive." It may have been "do not drink and hold a spear." Number 1. Challenging nature and thinking you can win. Among all the dumb things people do when drunk, the most dangerous one may be that classic sentence: "I think I can do it. I can jump over the fire. I can climb that tree. I can touch that wild bull. I can walk alone at night. I can stand at the edge of the cliff and enjoy the view." Alcohol is very good at creating this illusion. It does not actually give you strength. It only turns down your sense of danger. For modern people, this illusion is already troublesome enough. For ancient humans, it could directly decide life or death. Fire is not stage lighting. Wild animals are not background props. Rivers, cliffs, darkness, and weapons do not become gentle just because you are drunk. A sober person knows where the boundary is. A drunk person may see the boundary as a challenge. So in this ranking, challenging nature is number 1 not because it is the funniest, but because it best fits the dangerous logic of being drunk. You think you are proving your courage. In reality, you are just creating extra work for nature. So, what dumb things did ancient humans do after getting drunk? On the surface, they danced wildly, bragged, made random promises, started conflicts, and challenged nature. But at a deeper level, drunken behavior does not only reveal the foolishness of ancient people, it reveals a contradiction in humans that has never disappeared. Humans desire order, so we created rituals, rules, and civilization. But humans also desire a brief escape from order. That is one reason alcohol has always been so attractive. From prehistoric caves to modern bars, what has changed are the drinking vessels and the settings. What has not changed is that humans have always swung between reason and instinct. Civilization does not mean that we have completely escaped our wild side. It means we have learned, when that wild side is about to rush out, to keep it from destroying our lives. So the drunken mistakes of ancient humans are also like a very old mirror. We laugh at them for sleeping at the cave entrance while hugging a pottery jar. But if they saw us sleeping by the roadside while hugging a smartphone, they would probably laugh very loudly too.